Welcome to the Monday Night Plastic Crack Podcast, Season 5, Episode 21. I had to look it up just at the top of the screen to realise. I was just going, what episode is it? Oh, it's written up there. Yeah. Anyway, yes, thank you. Welcome, everybody, on our usual Monday Night Fun and Games. Tonight, we have a community guest in the shape of Kit from Mini Agnostic. You may have seen his YouTube channel and seen him comment in the various Facebook pages and other things that go on. So welcome tonight, Kit. Thanks for joining us. Brilliant to have you. So we'll get on to talk about his experiences, his journey into the hobby. I'm afraid, Mortzik, you were wrong. No, the new guest was not Brother Ken. Although he was in the chat, he was in our sort of Facebook chat earlier on today, and I thought, he's going to arrive tonight, isn't he? He's going to arrive. He's going to come.
He came in, dropped something about 3D printing, and then buggered off.
That was that, really. So no, we have far better guest here in the shape of Ken, rather than Ken. No, bless him. We miss him. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for watching on the catch-up, if you're watching on the catch-up. And do remember this stream is sponsored by Ian at Boards and Swords and the awesome team down there. And don't forget to use the PCP5 code to get an additional 5% off all the goodies that he sells. I was up there at the weekend, and there's still a lot of goodies in there. I didn't buy any, actually. I was going
to say, Dom, how was your willpower?
It was actually very good this time, thank you, Steve. I just bought paint and spray cans. That's all I bought, and that doesn't count, does it?
Not
purchases
really.
Doesn't count.
So there was nobody having to rugby tackle you away from the sales section.
No, there actually wasn't a sales section. I think that's probably why I didn't buy anything. Although Ian was pushing the Black Sea stuff quite hard. He was trying to get everyone to do that. Anyway, let's have a look in the chat. See who's with us tonight. There's going to be a lot of moisture, I predict. Definitely a bit of moisture. John, yeah, there we go. He's 89 degrees Fahrenheit. What's that in? I don't know. 89. I don't know. It's hot. 30 something, isn't it? Something like that. Pretty moist. So welcome, John. We've got Benjamin, Graham, Adam. Hi, Adam. Martin. He says evening from. Not you, Martin. You're not in Jersey, are you?
Definitely not.
He's in the sunny Jersey, painting proper Romans tonight to take on his Dacians. There you go. Old school FRP says he's planning to mow, but heat warnings say no, so time to stay inside and paint some 1830 Mexicans for today. Well, the temperature would be right for painting Mexicans, wouldn't it? That's for sure. If it's anything like here, it's Scotchio. It's lovely. We got Mobile and Hostile, Bicker City. Hi, Don. How you doing, mate? Evening all from Lionheart. Matt Mail. Hi, Matt. Good to see you at the weekend. He came out with his lovely Austrians at the Napoleonic weekend. I don't know how he finished on the end, but he was looking knackered by the fourth game, as I think I was too. 4 games in a weekend is too much for me, for sure. Lazy Pirate Paintings here. We've got Paul's Paint Shed. Hi, Paul. What's he saying? Something about Jack Daniels, so we'll just back away from Paul tonight. Ham and Jam. Hi, mate. I can't even pronounce this one. 30. Hi, 30. Nice to see you. Good to see you, mate. Mortsking, we've got David Baker. We've got, let's jump to the bottom again. Dutch Army Painter. Hi there. Daniel. Shell Shock Scenics. Hello there. Little Legion is from a hot, muggy North Yorkshire. There we go. Satchel, hello there. Darren's here from Kings Lynn. Just watching a rerun of Ken's test driving a BMW to visit Martin and then not knowing how to lock it. That was a classic. I was
looking at that photo I took of him the other day where he was in it. He had to ring the dealership to ask them how to lock the car. He had to ring them. I was for sure. I also thought it was going to get vandalized outside my house because it really was a target. The car, not Ken.
No. We wouldn't condone hitting Ken at all. Only his wife's allowed to do that.
Or
Steve
when he-
Harbour's here. Sorry.
Or when Ken's smashing your hotel room at 10 o'clock in the morning, telling you've got to be out in half an hour. Yeah.
Yeah. Our little friend was at the Travel Lodge at the weekend. I think she couldn't recognise me without 40 other big fat blokes around me. So. Gary's here. Rich M is here. Duncan. Hi, Duncan. I think I already said Duncan, so you've got 2. Andrew's here. Carl Burks is here. Gary Wallace. Miniature Odyssey. Hello there.
Oh, no, get rid of him. Get rid of him. We don't want him. We don't want him. Get rid of him. Get rid of him.
That's Robin.
That's Robin.
We don't want his. We don't want his sort. He's.
Shall we kick him out?
No,
if you haven't already done so, subscribe to Robin's new channel because he's finally joining the YouTubers and the influencers instead of just heckling us from the backside.
Hey, well, there's 2 things. First of all, go and check out his channel because he's done an in-depth review of 5 for Victory, V for Victory.
V for Victory. It's not 5.
World War II saga. And go and check it out. He's done that. But also, I want everyone to bug him, so he has to make a video about how he makes tents out of a J-cloth.
Oh, good idea. Because anybody wants to know that, put it in the chat.
Oh, even if you don't want to know, just put the pressure on it until he does it.
Oh God, where are we? Roger is here, and he's in a balmy 28 and a cool breeze in San Ontario. Cool breeze. I could do with that. Got all the windows and doors open here. Double dip. Evening, mate. Best name on the internet. Love that one. Neil's here from evening all from a sultry East Northants. Hello, mate. How you doing?
Sultry.
Is that how you describe it, Martin? Sultry?
I haven't been there for years. I'm going there in about a month, but I'll see how sultry it is.
Andrew's what's Andrew doing? He's having a lovely day painting a War Machine Colossus.
Ooh, nice.
I hope everyone else is doing well. Is that one of those big expensive models?
It's a bigger, big expensive model. They needed to go bigger.
Okay,
so it's a bigger one.
Okay, excellent. I'm still none the wiser. Good. Who else we got? Oh God, it's just grown the whole list. Well, I'm going to say thank you to everyone else. I'll keep going because they keep adding new names on the bottom. So thank you everybody for joining. As always, we really appreciate you joining us on the Monday night. What's Major Clang is saying? I enjoyed Tim's live video of the Napoleonic black powder games. I'm painting along grubby tanks after 5 minutes. Yeah, I featured in quite a large section of that live cast. I noticed the other day. It's like, and my lovely ample physique standing in front of a camera is never good.
I thought you were going to say your ample army, not your physique.
Oh no. It's far better if you just see this bit of me because then you don't. Anyway, never mind. Right, so let's get on with it. Good evening, Kit. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's great to have another member of the community. You've been watching this for quite a while, so you should know better by now, really.
This kind of season 2 or so I started.
Right.
Yeah.
So like we do with everybody who comes on, kind of going to take us how you got into gaming in the first place. Were you one of these weirdo people who converted into a bit more historical, or did you come another route?
Yeah, I was very much in the kind of Games Workshop generation of starting. It was around 6th edition, which is like early 2000s of Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah,
I started. But this was very much at the influence of my uncle, who had been a historical gamer. And so it was a kind of learn fantasy, and then in a few years I'll start pushing 15 Ancients as a kind of and that way it kind of went. And I realized I'd kind of done the same cycle twice in the hobby of kind of early teens getting into fantasy, and was always drawn to the more kind of historical looking armies. So Empire was the big one I started collecting at the start with all the really lovely stuff. And at that age, it wasn't as much of a kind of beginner-friendly hobby, I don't think. There wasn't a lot of the guides, and certainly the kind of internet stuff wasn't there in terms of helping you learn to paint and everything. So looking back at those early attempts is a traumatizing experience. But I'm glad I still have a few of them as a kind of, this is where I started.
You do
And
that thing that we all do, look back at them and go, oh my goodness, did I really do it that way?
back in the cupboard. And then, it's like I kind of had Baptism of Fire with like metal miniatures and all of that stuff around then. And had just started Dwarves when they released, we're going to do a new range in the middle of an edition thing. And kind of got a bit put off with GW shenanigans and sort of stepped back from the hobby for about 10 years or so from that point. And I had started delving into historicals at that point. So 1 year for a birthday present, I got like an Essex miniatures set of 15mm New Kingdom Egyptians.
Oh, right. Yeah, good figures.
This was with the intent to play De Bellis Multitudinus, which Barcaries in kind of 14, 15 didn't,
No.
over me. I never actually made it to a full game because there were so many things to paint. It's the same thing with Epic, where it's like because of the scale, it's a relatively kind of inexpensive entry to something, and you have all these megalomaniac tendencies as wargamers seem to have. I'm like, oh yes, of course I'll get an entire army, and made it through a couple of chariots and spearmen and archers, and then into the cupboard they went as well. And at that point there was a lot of the kind of high street stuff was still there for gaming, so there was like they were colourful, very good figures. Looking back again, the definition on the sculpts is not quite how I remember them either. They're very
but at the day they were probably great. I mean, that's the thing. Like, now you look back at it, you think, oh my goodness, that's awful. But at the time, it was brilliant. They had faces, sort of.
Well, that was I kind of drifted away from all the wargaming stuff, and then, as people do, kind of later after university stuff, got back into it as a kind of everything I do in real life is too stressful. I need to go and paint toy soldiers, sort of escape. And again, got dragged back into Games Workshop stuff first because it was what was there and what was visible.
Yeah.
And after a few years, remembered why that was a bad idea, and discovered things like this podcast and Yorkshire Ken's podcast, and got into Napoleonics, and that's sort of where I am now. So
excellent,
good man. Into it, like a bit.
What's your Napoleonic army of choice?
Prussia, which I think people seem to talk about it. People choosing Prussia because everyone else had picked the other armies. But I had a kind of historical, deep interest in Prussia from outside of kind of the hobby stuff. I do a lot of research in music history, and did a doctorate in that, and that's when I started coming back into the hobby. And so there was all this crossover with 19th century German nationalism and the kind of remembering of the Napoleonic period. So there was a kind of historical interest that drew me into it more, which there isn't overlap at all, really. But it's just, it was a way into things.
Yeah.
Interesting. Don't tell James that they're boring, for goodness sake. I spent a lot of Saturday night over beer. No, Friday night actually, with him talking about how wonderful the Prussian army was, and how it was just the best army in the Napoleonic period.
It's not as colourful as the uniform, as a lot of the other armies. They're a lot more flashy. No. Whereas the Prussians, when you look at it, you kind of get a lot of opportunities to mix other things in earlier than you would with other armies. Like what they call a brigade is really a division in most other army sense. So at that scale, you will get cavalry and up to kind of medium cavalry, various types of artillery, 3 different types of infantry, all in one mass, which is, it's all grey and blue, but there's a lot of different types of grey and blue.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, let's have a because you sent me some pictures of some of the very Prussians that you've been talking about. So let's have a look at some of these. This is this one. I assume it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Is the order? Brilliant. I'm sharp tonight. There's one.
This is what I was doing this week, which I got to the end of everything and thought skirmishes are needed. So they were very metals.
Oh, very cool.
Very good indeed. Yes, I've got some of those in my cabinet somewhere. Is that based for GDA or something? Or what are you playing with them?
I don't know why, but it was kind of aesthetic reasons. I used the Grand Manor facing for everything.
Yeah.
From like looking at the Perry's photos and things like that, that's the aesthetic that spoke to me most, as this is what wargaming looks like.
Brilliant.
So
50 Shades of Grey and Blue. Yeah, I think that's about right, Carl. Absolutely.
And if you thought there were button counters, then the blue shade.
It matters.
Interrogate you. Well, actually, it's a slightly darker blue in this unit.
Yeah, I know, James. He says, weirdly, the more beer I have, the more I talk about Prussians. Yeah, I know. Yeah, they look great. They're really nice. I like those figures very much. Now, that's next one is the... Blimey, look at that. That's a proper battalion. That's a proper battalion. That is. Love it.
It's not been a quick process. Because I do batch painting, but not to any kind of wide level, so it just taking a long time. But
so, Steve, how do you feel about that? Because you had to go at Prussians, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Lasted about 3 days.
You're feeling a bit faint looking at that number of them. There's a couple of drummers in there too.
No, it was the Landwehr that I tried. For me, they're the most sensible of all the Napoleonic uniforms.
Yeah.
But no, I painted 8, 10. The rest got turnips. So no, they look. I guess I do like the look. I love the look of Napoleonic armies. I just know that I've not got the intestinal fortitude, or desire, or I can't do it. I just can't do it.
Just not gonna. Doesn't get you going. No.
Like Dirty Harry said, man's got to know his limitations, and my limitations are drummers.
I have to say, James will be very upset with me, but even after his attempt to indoctrinate me at the weekend, I look at the Prussians. I think they're kind of just a bit boring, really, aren't they? They're nice uniforms, and that they look brilliant on mass like that. But just the painting of them is just like, oh my god, it's blue and grey again. It's blue and grey again. Oh, I can do some Jaegers; they'll be green and grey, and that's it.
Kit, what do you do for painting? Do you use contrast paint? Do you do sort of traditional triads? Or
yeah, it's very much the old kind of 3 triad method of things. So I basically got everything in black, kind of religiously, and then with these I just do everything undercoats and then agrax on absolutely everything, and then re-highlight up on top.
Okay.
Which I on fantasy and things where it's a smaller number of models, I will be a bit more kind of picky with washes, but with this, I just brown on everything.
Good idea. No, we'll get very drunk, Paul. We'll get very drunk if we do that. Yeah, they look great. I love that. That's they do look good. I must admit. I must say, when I've got them laid out, I painted a battalion. I think they look really good. But then the thought of doing another one and another one and another one, like you've done.
The kind of army that really kind of, if you love a good spreadsheet, then you'll like the Prussians. And sword knots and all of this little stuff that a certain type really enjoys. This is the startings of a brigade. I've left myself with the less interesting still bits, which are the reservists and the Landwehr.
The battle winners, you mean? Landwehr always win, don't they? I don't know what it is about them. They just seem to, with mine they do. Just seem to always the decent stuff seems to run off, but the Landwehr sticks out. I don't know. So you got dragoons there, is it? I think.
Yeah, they're Neumark dragoons, which have pink facings, which is quite. It's a flash of interesting colour in there.
Nice.
And then 6-pounder artillery.
Awesome. They're nice. Very good indeed. And then I think what's this one? Oh, you've gone all arty.
Yeah, I've been experimenting with games. For me, they're not what draw me to the hobby at all. Whereas kind of being able to take nice photos is what I really aspired to be able to do at the end. So I had some Grand Manor buildings and one of those railway backdrop scene things.
Yep.
And spent one summer kind of building up these terrain boards, which I wasn't expecting to be the one thing on my channel that kind of drew people to it, but people like brass techniques apparently. So that was that was the winning formula.
Awesome. I love it. I think it's great. And then you also sent me, what have we got here? A Dwarf Lord.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
the old world has kind of dragged me back, and I thought I should actually paint the dwarves that I bought all those years ago. And again, because gaming isn't a big thing for me, I'd spend as much as I want, kind of time-wise, on these. So this was a fun kind of diversion from.
It looks great. I love his eyebrows.
That is very cool. And also, then you'll be sitting there quite happy, unlike the other people who have been waiting for the dwarves in this, since a recent announcement, which have never turned up.
It was like 3 months ago or something. They showed all these figures and then they just disappeared. The price of these things has become impossible on eBay and stuff. I was very lucky to get them when they were still sort of in the shops, and then
they went in your infamous cupboard that was established is quite large by the sound of
it.
And I saw your video on this one, and on this team, and I just thought so good. So the Blood Bowl Halfling team, the stripes on that, just awesome. Love it.
There's a club quite near me that there's another one who does kind of historical things there, but there's a Blood Bowl league that's been happening every year for quite a long time. And I decided I wasn't going to be very good at this, so I just picked a team that was likely to lose anyway.
That's a good strategy. I like that strategy.
I mean, I always found when I played Blood Bowl, winning was secondary. Wiping out the opponent's team and battering all their star players, that was the main purpose for me. I played Blood Bowl like an absolute git.
Being able to throw halflings at people will never get old. Like, I'll injure my team, but it'll be fun. So.
That is awesome. I love it. I think it's really, really good. I think I watched that video avidly, and I thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to do it. But I like the fact how you've done the stripes. That's brilliant. And I couldn't actually think of how to use it in any historical sense anyway. But maybe some of the Gauls, maybe.
There's the occasional kind of French figure where you'll see their very finely striped trousers, and things like that. It's just the odd character here and there in a unit that makes things pop a bit. But
Mobile House, I think I worked with that guy in the stripy shirt. I hope not. I really hope not. That's awesome. So you definitely reside in Ken's magic quadrant of painting versus gaming versus modeling versus collecting. You're more in the painting side of things.
I think so, yeah. I've never really pegged down where exactly I sit in that, because I think research and the history side is for me the big thing with the historicals. I think more so than the collecting and painting. But yeah, gaming is definitely out of them the kind of the bottom one of the pile. It's not that I don't enjoy games when I play them, but it's just that that's not the landmark that I'm building an army towards. I just like having things that I painted.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. It's each their own. Well, that's the beauty of that. I love that idea of Ken's anyway, that everyone's coming at it from a different. We all have a certain tendency one way or the other, and it's really good. Minis with a chance of history. You've ACW, right, Dom? Yeah, I know they have, but I haven't painted any yet. They're on my to-do list. Is my ACW figures, and I'm not going to paint them on the little tiny epic stuff. No way. I'm not mad. Awesome. That's really, really cool. And I love, well, some of those figures, all those figures look brilliant. Really nice indeed. Let's have a look at what everyone else has been working on. Well, Martin, it'd be very quick. You've done nothing.
No, I have done stuff.
No. All right. Shall I go with Steve while you're dropping paint? Or
I think
okay.
I was painting a 90s tribal tattoo on my Gallic cavalry, like wandering like a man, shots in Top Man. But so the first thing is I have finished this thing. Apart from the teddy.
Well done.
Yeah. It's just that the only thing I need to do is put teddy bear fur on there, but I'll have to do that when
Tessa's asleep and you can steal it.
So Hayley actually went to the shed the other day, was like, school want donations for a raffle, and she brought back like 2 bin bags of like teddies that I'd forgotten about. So I started looking through them with the full intention of like going Predator, like doing a recreation of that scene from Predator. And then what happened was my daughters saw them, and now all those teddy bears are upstairs on their beds and have been claimed. So it's had exactly the opposite effect, which is I'm less likely to get them, and there's more shit in my house. and not on my models, which is really annoying. But yeah, so that's finished. I will get some photos of it on the backdrop at some point. I've got another one to print off as I do things. But yeah, in the end, it's not turned out too bad. As I say, yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that it was like a timber frame building, I'd be swearing a lot more. It's just that it doesn't, because it didn't really go together quite right. But that kind of adds to the whole look of the whole thing. It gives it a whole kind of shambolic, rickety thing. I was slightly inspired by Steve, because Steve's been painting up more Bushido, and I really like Bushido. Oh no, it's got rid of my pissing photos. Hang on a second. Hang on, talk to Steve. Talk to Steve.
Steve, what you been up to, mate?
Sod all.
Oh, that's crap.
No. I've been painting. Like I say, I've been painting the Clanito starter box. There's 5 figures in there. So I don't want to be just showing one figure at a time. So I want to complete the entire starter box. I'm painting some chap with really odd trousers. I don't like his trousers. I really don't like his trousers whatsoever. But no, they are really nice. There's something about Bushido figures. They're weird, but they're just really nice to paint. The last one had a big snake, which, you know, every starter box needs a big snake, doesn't it? What was I doing? I made the mistake of starting to play Fallout 4 again last week. And I've lost many hours since starting.
You've just gone down a complete rabbit hole playing that.
Yeah, because I just love the Fallout games. Wasn't a fan of New Vegas, but 3 and 4, especially Fallout 3. I wasted so many hours playing. I actually completed that game by mistake. I cut out about 60% of the game by finding something that I shouldn't have found, and then went on to the end story. So didn't really do much exploring. But no, plans for this week: finish this Bushido box. I've also dug out my old classic rat skins from Necromunda. I've got the whole gang, but I've dug out 4. I want to turn them into a Space Weirdos gang. Nice. Because I really like those. And a few other bits and pieces. This with Bolt Action 3 coming out, this is loads, mugs, broken kettles, old cigarettes, pre-war.
You just never you never know when it's going to be useful in that game, do you?
No, you tend to just pick up everything because, like I say, you never know. Or you could have used that used ashtray that you found 6 miles away. All right, yeah, brilliant. No, it's just a good game. No, I was saying to a mate the weekend with Bolt Action 3 coming out. It's thrown me off World War II modeling and painting because I go by points. I build my project by points.
Yeah.
And if I don't know the points, I'm more confused about what to paint. So I don't know. I have seen one list that I really want to do, and it's an early war list from I think it's from it's one of the early war books, and it's a British armoured list, and I want to get some Matildas because I love painting Matildas. But I can use those War Games Atlantic BEF that I bought and did nothing with. Yeah, it's an easy mistake to make.
That didn't go so well for you, Paul, I'm sure.
But yeah, so that's why I've not been that focused over the past couple of weeks. I've still got those partisans that I've been working on. So yeah, it's a bit of a scattergun approach at the moment.
Bit of a butterfly at the moment.
It is, yes, definitely.
Yeah. No. Well, that's the way of it is. I was trying. So at the weekend, I was talking to Colin Stone from Warlord, and I was trying to find out what was happening with Bolt Action, but he was being quite facetious about it. He said it's all been ripped up and started again. And I said, I think you're lying.
If he stopped halfway there, I'd be fine with that.
Come on, you got your pictures up now, then, Martin.
Yeah. I got my pictures up. Go away, Robin. That's me. So I've worked as now. Miller went to the UK Games Expo, and GCT had some exclusive stuff for Bushido. Well, I say it's exclusive. The main release is going to be in a few months, but they had a limited number of ones there, and I think I've inadvertently started a new faction because I just like this guy. So this is a chap called Shiho Shirak, and
nice.
I really like him.
Is that a teddy bear hanging from his waist?
It is a teddy bear. It has a use in game. It's
is that
the
one that's been skinned for your building?
It should be. No. So this guy essentially is lucky. So he's not the best in combat. He's not particularly skilled at anything, but he's got the lucky rabbit. And then essentially he gets a luck token, and he can basically re-roll things. Where he gets a certain number of tokens and he can recharge them. So when he has the lucky rabbit, it lets him just re-roll things. So, but I tried to paint him up. I had before it gets pointed out, I've gone for the color scheme that I used for my test of honor, the blue and the kind of because I know it works.
I didn't like to say, but yeah.
I know it works. So, and he's got this really cool looking katana.
And he's got an apple as well.
He's got an apple as well. So I just really like the look of it. Actually, I don't know if the apple has an ability. Does the apple have an ability? No, not that I can see. Oh, can he throw it? He might be able to throw it. But yes, he does have a range. Oh no, he doesn't have a ranged attack. I was about to say that'd be amazing if he could throw the apple. So yeah, that's he was just really cool, and then I thought with the base I would sort of keep it simple, but Tajima have released a whole new just a few more sets of tufts which I bought with these like tall flowers now instead of just like the stumpy little ones. So I used those, but I tried to make it kind of manga-y, cartoony looking, you know, like and then I sort of thought, well, why not paint the rabbit pink? Everything else is kind of muted. Why not make the rabbit pink? So yeah, I did him. But I haven't got any more of his faction. I essentially got Miller to buy this because I thought it looked really cool. And I did a bit of non-metallic metal on the arm, like the greaves, the things on his arms. Not the greaves, that's what goes on your hand, isn't it? No, arms.
Greaves
legs.
go on the legs. So.
Yeah.
Martin, quick question. How many parts did it come in?
One. That's one piece.
Really?
It's one piece, yeah. It was resin, it's one piece.
Lovely.
I thought the katana would have been a separate hand.
No, that's all.
Oh, right,
no, that's all. That's all. That was all one piece. It was lovely, and the resin was not well. I didn't break it at all, so it's not brittle. It's got a really nice flex to it. I dropped it a couple of times, and he's been fine. I also used some of that Gamer's Grass 3D plants on there.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, nice.
Some of them in there just to. So yeah, so that's what I paid. Just having a little break from the little people, which I'm finishing some. It's really I'm painting some 28mm Celts while I'm painting epic ones at the same time. So I thought that.
Yeah, I realised I've got to do the same thing, and I thought that could be really interesting doing the little fellas and the big fellas all in one go.
It's not. It's not. No.
Thanks for that, Martin. That'll inspire me to do it. Yeah.
When you got to paint twice as many for one unit.
Yeah, true.
It's swiftly not. But yeah. So that's sort of what. Oh no, I've just realised. No, that's not enough. That's half a unit.
Yeah, that's the problem. Only one sprue has enough for half the unit.
Yeah, I need to do another 6 stands.
Pain in the bum. Yeah.
Well, that was me anyway.
So talking about the little fellas, I got some of them done. So that's the Libyan heavy infantry and some Gallic slingers, which I really enjoyed.
They're very cool. The Libyans are so easy to knock out.
They are
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And I started to use. That's why I was interested in those AK pens because I thought I used the Posca pens or whatever they are.
Posca.
To do them because I mean they look like some 5-year-old has done them as it is, but if I did them with a paintbrush it would be like I have no idea. So I used the pens and that worked pretty well. I think it sort of works on mass, so that was fun, and I do like them, and I'm just about to start on some Romans. But yeah, I need someone to fight. But like you're saying with the numbers, I realised you need 2 sprues to make up a 3 units, don't you? It's like, oh my god.
Oh no, 2 sprues to make up.
Yeah,
3 snacks, one unit. Yeah,
1 unit of 3.
Yeah.
Each.
So the Carthaginian division, you get 2 sprues of Carthaginians and 2 sprues of Gauls. So you can make up 1 unit of Libyans, 1 unit of Scutari, 2 stands of Numidian horsemen, 2 stands of Numidian javelins, 2 stands of the medium cavalry, 1 massive unit of which is still standard of the Gallic warband, and then some Gallic slingers, and you get a boatload of commanders. So it's gonna be interesting, because I think a lot of people because on my videos I've noticed there's a lot of people who are buying into this who have never played Hail Caesar or army building before, and they're very that's why I did that. I sort of tried to show you how you could build a division in the video I did using the models, and like I think there's a lot of people are realizing that I think they're going to buy those division boxes and think that's all they need. Whereas you could buy 2 of those division boxes and then split them up entirely and mix and match. And
true,
yeah,
true. No, I think they're working quite nicely. So so I got them done. That was nice. And then I mentioned a while back, I've sort of, for some reason, been going back through figures that have been prepped and ready to go for ages and ages and ages, and which is quite satisfying, really. So I did some longbowmen.
Nice.
They've been sitting waiting to be done for ages for my War of the Roses forces. So my theory was they're the dismounted versions, so I can do some mounted longbowmen. So I thought about doing mounted longbowmen. So I did them as well. So yeah, I'm quite happy with getting them done, because they've been literally sitting since I finished my last unit of War of the Roses, which must be a year ago, sitting primed, ready to be done. And I just, for some reason, haven't got around to it until now. So I thought I'd just knock them out. So quite pleased with how they came out. They're I think they're front ranked, those ones, and I think most of these are casting room. I think.
Nice. I like those.
So yeah, so they're done, which is very satisfying to get them finished and out of the way. So yeah, that was what I've been up to painting. But of course, I was away at the weekend at Napoleonic Wargamers event, and I took the glorious Swedes along. So there they are. That's them deployed en masse. There was a lot of. There were 6 foot by 4 foot tables, and I have to say, there's an awful lot of toy soldiers on both sides on these games. They were enormous battles. 600 points, so you'll love that, Martin. Points, but it was not competitive, and you can see. So here's a question for you. There was 18 players, I think, on the Saturday playing games. How many French sides do you think there were, Martin?
How many players? 18?
Yeah.
6.
Kit, you want to have a guess?
I'll say 8.
There was 1.
What?
1?
Yeah. 1. The most popular nation to play Napoleonics with. There was 1 French.
Did he win?
I don't even know that he did, to be absolutely honest.
If he won, then I think that says something. That'll be the.
There was
what was the
one
most
French
numerous
player. Well, I was going to be my next question. Who do you think was the most numerous? I did not see this coming either.
Russian.
No, the other ones, the Austrians.
Why?
I think because you could have those big battalions, large battalions, and Austrians, when they fire at close range from a large battalion, they get 5 fire dice.
That's a lot of white.
That's
a lot of white.
Our friend Matt did his Austrians, and there's a lot of white there. That's for sure. Yeah, extraordinary. So it was, it was amazing, but it was good fun. And as I say, it was nice to play the games. Although I've come to the conclusion, as I think Matt did, 4 games in 2 days is too much, especially with the alcohol in between. Was probably a bit too much, but it was jolly good fun. The other thing that was really interesting about the day, and kudos to Tim for this, was just how many new players there were. I reckon about half had only played maybe 1 game or none at all. As you saw from some of those pictures, I think there was a few unpainted figures because it didn't matter. You didn't have to have them painted. But this guy I played against here with his Russian-Austrian army, he came up from Hastings to Derby on the train.
Oh, wow.
To play. I mean, it's all about dedication.
That's dedication, right?
Yeah.
Did you recruit anyone to CrackCon in the PCP?
I did. Well, we're full this year, aren't we? But I did suggest to them that it was a good idea. But yeah, so yeah, and a lot of them were sort of certainly occasional listeners to this pod. So if anybody is watching and listening, then nice to meet you all, because it was a fun weekend, really good fun. Lots of nice games, all done in the right spirit.
We're sorry you had to put up with Dom.
Yeah, sorry. I did. My last, I have to say, Martin, my dice rolling was pretty average all the way through, up until the last game, and I felt dreadful because I just couldn't stop rolling whatever I needed. It was just embarrassing. You know,
did you change your dice?
Oh yeah, several times. Yeah,
good.
I was waiting for Tim to come around with a camera and do it on camera, but unfortunately he didn't. So yeah, I changed multiple occasions.
What are we going to do in our game at CrackCon when we're umpiring? Because you're going to be at the other end of the table, and down my end of the table, it's going to be no changing of dice.
At my end of the table, we're going to allow any kind of changing you like, and you can roll the dice on the table as well, not in the basket. So there you go.
No, I don't think you don't have to roll in the basket. That's just when you're filming the bloody thing. Although when you're playing with like Miller, he rolls it so hard it pings out and like knocks out a light bulb.
Oh, James is here. Poor James. I think James was on the receiving end of my last game, and his dice were absolutely unbelievably terrible. Literally, it was one of those ones where it was like your dice, Martin, and my dice.
When I played you,
yeah, my dice were completely opposite, and so he was supposed to be attacking by about turn 3. I think I'd run him off the table by counter-attacking. So it was just pulled. But he had a lovely army, so it was a nice game, James. I'm sorry about that. I felt dreadful. Anyway, so that was fun. So it was a good weekend. So watch out.
He doesn't feel bad.
I don't
feel bad.
No, I don't. No, I do. I feel very bad about it. But if you're interested in doing that again, if you're interested in taking part of it, I think Tim's talking about doing another one in February next year up at Boards and Swords. So look out for that. It was jolly good fun, and it was a Boards and Swords as usual, where we hold CrackCon, and Ian is a great host for it. So it was well run and very enjoyable. So, and Alex is here as well. Blimey. Oh, my goodness. Hi, Alex. I played him twice. Poor guy. He had to play me twice. It was good, though. It was very good. Yeah, first ever game. He knew the rules better than me, Martin. He kept picking me up on the rules. He said he'd read them. I said, I haven't read them.
Reading the rules? What's this madness?
Yeah. I thought you just read the quick reference sheet and that was it.
Yeah. Like, I just watch videos and sound authoritative. Yeah, so there you go. Edward said February, March. I'm definitely going to be attending. I have time to paint my army for it now too. Yeah, absolutely. It was great to see. I mean, so many people had thrown themselves into it, and I bet there's more French next time. That's all I'm going to say. And the only problem with the Austrians and the Russians playing that sort of game is trying to get them to brigade. You can't do brigade moves with them. And a lot of the games you had to move up the table or take on something, so they just got very disjointed, which didn't work for them.
Well, I'll try and because the only reason I couldn't come was because it was my daughter's 8th birthday, so I know I can go. So I will come and I will bring the glory of France. I will bring it with me. That'll be fun.
Anyway, so that was jolly good fun. So watch out for that on Tim's channel. Whenever he puts his tickets up for the next one. I'm knackered as a result of that weekend, so apologies if I'm not firing on all cylinders today. Right, so that was our week. That's what we've been up to. So, Kit, let's get back to talking about your experiences and things. So you started a channel up as well. So what was the rationale behind that, and what's the sort of focal point for that? if anybody hasn't signed up.
I'd had a few kind of trial attempts of I'm going to record this and this will be my first video, and then got halfway through and was like, no, rubbish, bin it. And on about the third attempt, decided, okay, no, I actually have to post something this time. So I'm a teacher and had started teaching during COVID, and so had to get to grips very quickly with making videos and recording things. Because for about 2 terms, that was the only teaching you could do, was here's a video, go and learn. Which, for music, you have to find interesting ways of kind of communicating that through the screen. So that gave me some confidence doing it. And I don't really have a plan for the channel in terms of which direction it goes. I was kind of just saying things and see what sticks. Not that I'm approaching it from the kind of I want this to be a successful channel sort of angle, but more in the my hobbying is quite eclectic and I don't really have one thing I focus on at a time.
Yep.
And I think it helped that the old world was just, setting the internet on fire and people were all flocking to those videos when I started getting back into dwarves and had a large collection of things ready to paint. So I think that was a kind of people living a little bit vicariously through, here's a big selection of dwarves. And then I've kind of got a bit tired of painting those for a little bit. So that will come back at some point. So I feel like I've kind of done a Trojan horse thing where it's like, come here, watch old world stuff and got loads of subscribers. And here's Napoleonics. So public service in that way of drawing people to historicals.
That's it. You're doing your bit for historicals. Well done, good man. Love it. So interesting. As a teacher, is there any? Because a couple of teachers watch this, I know, and get involved in this. Have you ever managed to get any of your kids involved in wargaming or interested in that? Have you managed to do sort of these surreptitious sort of wargaming clubs, which is just an excuse for you to wargame?
If I was any other subject, I would love to be able to do that. Music is one of those things where every minute you get outside of lessons, you want to be doing a rehearsal for this or an ensemble for that. The closest I've come to kind of mixing them is we have quite a large CCF, like Combined Cadet Force school. And one of the kind of military linked staff sergeants who comes over and does things with them was into historical gaming as well. So got to speak to him a bit about it, but we've never really got anything off the ground. I think it's the kind of thing where you have to be quite careful as well at pitching it in school these days of the cost. And bringing them into school and so on. It's a bit tricky to kind of manage these days, I think. But that being said, people have started up kind of trading card game clubs and things in schools. So there is some kind of hobby adjacent sort of things going on. Yeah,
it's good. Yeah. Well, again, at the weekend, I was an absolute gobsmacked. On the Sunday, there was obviously some sort of card tournament going on. I have no idea what it was all about. But there was a heck of a lot of young kids there, and it was. It's just nice to see them in the shop. And I know Ian's always keen to sort of show off other things while they're there, so that maybe they might sort of be tempted to go and buy some Windy Boat Game or something. I think that's a stretch to go from Pokemon cards or whatever they were playing to Windy Boat Game, but it's worth a try, right?
It's something that a lot of these shows seem to be trying to do now, is breaking a much wider pool and drawing people and then be like, and here's some historicals you could be interested in as well. Like Salute did it very well this year with their panels, I think. Of kind of mixing those worlds and getting a lot of the bigger content creators from the GW side involved. But
yeah, no, I mean, Steve, you're the man that's sort of done. Oh no, but actually Martin has too, but done the most sort of weird shit as well before you move into the historical. How do you think that do you think there's a way is that a good way to encourage people to get into historicals by having all this variety at the different shows? I know you don't go to those shows. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you for that answer.
I just think, I mean, for me, it's, I mean, my nephew, he plays Magic the Gathering. He's 14.
Yeah.
He plays Magic the Gathering. He plays Pokemon. We've played Hero Quest. He's played X-Wing with my brother. I've never broached the idea of historical war games. I don't think he'd be interested. I really don't think he'd be interested whatsoever. I think because my brother, he's not a gamer, but he will dabble, like X-Wing. Me and him have played Magic for 30 years now. So he will try new things, but I think he finds the historical side a bit dull. He won't mind playing, like, say, Hero Quest or something like that, Space Hulk. But historicals, I think that might be a bridge too far.
Love it. Yeah, I think so too. It's one of those things, isn't it? It's just maybe just going a little bit of a step. But I'm it's funny enough, again, it was one of these things we discussed quite a lot over the weekend, was because there were quite a lot of, most of the people there were certainly younger than me, so I gauge on that they must be young people. Not that I'm just old, but they were. It was interesting because pretty much everybody who was new to the historicals or to the Napoleonic bit had come out of sort of the fantasy kind of world, and it was really nice to see that, because you don't often see that. I don't think, I'm not used to it anyway, and it was nice to see different people just trying out, and the fact that the event was quite welcoming and that you didn't even have to paint your armies. You could just have the figures on their bases and off you went. I think that was a great thing to do. So it was nice to see new people getting involved. Made me feel warm inside. What can I say?
What Tim's channel does really well, though, I think, is making those things accessible to people and not kind of patronizing in a kind of 40k. You must want 6 people with exploding spears and that's it sort of stuff. It's like, no, I'm going to explain the French army in a kind of how to collect them sense that makes it accessible to people. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Sorry, it's just
Yorkshire Dragoon says, I work at a boarding school and getting the kids off the screens to do anything other than the sport is impossible. Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
That's true.
Evening, Paul.
You don't know what to say to that, do you? No.
I just kind of feel like I need to buy another one and just do it again. I kind of feel I feel like they did have 2. There were 2 taken off the boat to do it, but I'm not. Whoever's video is on that week will definitely be getting demonetized.
So, you can save it for your week. That's fine. And I have no idea. Ben, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. It says, don't worry, Dom, I'll teach you Disney lore.
Right, okay. Do you want to help here?
I have no idea.
It's just Disney Magic the Gathering, essentially. My daughter plays it and kicks my ass at it repeatedly, and there's cards that are worth a lot of money. But I'd like to see you play it, and I'd like to get a photo of you playing it as well. That would be my. I'm gonna get shouted at now for saying it's Disney Magic the Gathering by Magic the Gathering players, and then by the Lorcana people are going to get upset as well.
Whenever I've played Pokemon or whatever iteration of Pokemon you play, I just lose. I'm not got a clue. Not got a clue. Completely.
I don't know. Imogen played the online version of one of those for a while, and she tried to explain to me, and even she gave up, and she's got the patience of a saint. I have no idea what was going on. Absolutely no at all.
I think with Magic as well, I may be at a disadvantage because Magic's moved on since I first started playing it.
Yeah.
I bought I'm still using my deck that I bought in 1994. And I got some new I got some new ones in 1999. But yeah, most of my the majority of my deck is 20 years older than my nephew. It's just ridiculous.
Your deck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, I did used to. I did used to enjoy playing it. I used to have a goblin deck, a red deck of goblins. Yeah, Dom, you look confused there, man.
I have no idea. It's gone on. I'm sorry, I was off into the there for a minute. No, I'm if they're playing games, I don't care. It's better than other things that they could be up to. So that's good. Lynn says, I grew up playing with Lego and was astounded when I came across miniature wargaming as an adult. Connecting it to childhood and scratching that itch would be a way to grow the hobby. I'm not sure about scratching the itch, but there you go. Yeah,
I've played Space Weirdos with Star Wars Lego.
Oh.
Sorry, Tim's just really made me laugh. His Magic the Gathering like top trumps.
I suspect Tim's as lost as I am on that whole discussion, but there you go. No, Tim. That's awesome. Duncan says, my 10-year-old is history mad and would choose historical over fantasy most of the time, hence why I'm working on Kings of War historicals now. That's great, Duncan. I'm well impressed with that. It's there's not that many. I don't think that's very normal, if I'm honest, from what I see, but that's really good. It should be encouraged. Offending magic. Oh, hang on. Offending magic players is part of the hobby, isn't it? I don't know.
My friend has his whole business, and he's one of the biggest retailers for Magic the Gathering in the UK. Like he just opens up card packs and sorts them into sleeves and whatever, and then sells them. And he'll tell me all the stories about the amount of money that people are dropping on it. And I've turned to Haley. I say, you have look at this. Look at the amount of money this bloody card has gone for. And then to use the card, you've got to rip it up in game. There was a series of before we go, there was a Magic the Gathering expansion, whatever you want to call it, called Unglued, and they did crazy things on the cards. Like, play this card. If you run around the table 3 times, deal 10 damage, that kind of thing. But there was one card that basically said, if you rip up this card, you win the game. And it was really, really rare, and it was banned from tournaments because there's a lot of money in some of these Magic the Gathering tournaments, and I think it must have happened at least once. And the first time someone bought it, spent $1,000 or whatever on this card, took it, ripped it up, and then won the prize.
If you want to indulge in a spot of Schadenfreude, go on YouTube and check out people who've been banned from playing Magic the Gathering tournaments.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Some of it
like a panorama episode.
It's just beyond the absolute pale.
Yeah.
How people can just. There was one chap, he got banned. And he got it might have been a year ban. And when he came back, he got caught cheating at the next tournament he was at. He got banned for life after that.
Yeah.
It's apt, but again, just entertainment.
Just what? I have no words. I have no words at all. Benjamin says offending MTG players is almost as much fun as calling tabletop wargaming advanced chess in front of the local chess club chairman and watch his eyes begin to twitch. Yeah, probably true. Probably true. And James wants to know whether Ragged Staff is pitching to CCGs.
I had to sit back for what that meant for a minute. You come up with pitch me something.
Pitch him. Oh, listen to him. Jeez. So, Kip, what's next then? What are you working on next in terms of the painting? Because it is very eclectic what you're up to. So
it is, yeah.
How do you decide what to do? You're going to finish that Prussian division first, I hope.
At some point, yeah. Yeah, I've got loads of reservists, kind of their grey sort of looming in the horizon. So that'll probably be the next thing for them. The good thing about them is they fit into lots of different divisions because the uniform really doesn't change very much between those at all. So they're quite versatile as a unit. I've been going down a rabbit hole of kind of button countery stuff with horse saddlery and stuff.
Saddlery, okay.
The Perrys did this, the Russian Ulans set, and you can take the spear arms from them and use them on the Allied Dragoons set, and make things like Prussian Ulans and the Landwehr cavalry. But the horses that they had at this time have this like wolf's tooth saddle thing, which they suggest you use the French light horse. I'm boring everyone with this, but the French light cavalry horses. But all the stuff on the horse head is slightly different to how the Prussian ones were. So I'm kind of scraping things and green stuffing horse heads, which it's entirely a delaying activity, so I don't have to paint more horses. But yeah,
that's
the current exciting things I'm doing.
I like it. Yeah. Well, he's their own. I got accused of my Swedes had the wrong flags on, and I said I know. someone sold them as Napoleonic. I don't think they are Napoleonic, but they look good, so screw it. So there you go.
They weren't,
excellent.
Tom, they weren't turnip flags by any chance, would it?
Gee whiz, you are. Yeah, Paul says, imagine telling the wife how much you spent on a card. Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's bad enough with the figures, but coming in with a card is not going to work. And Anthony, I like it. It's like playing Ken. When the unit routs, she reaches for the lighter. He's not doing any paper ones anymore. He said he's given up on that. I think he's doing. He's back painting again.
Do you think it was the point when was it Benjamin who said, "Why didn't he just laminate them?" That just killed him.
Yeah, poor guy. Yeah, he's back painting. So I know he's been printing more figures out, and there might even be some figures appearing at some point. My goodness me. So yes, sorry, I distracted the Kit. In terms of what you're up to, so you're going to be. So research is obviously a big thing as well for you. And what do you do? How do you go about that? Is it all internet, or do you have a massive library of books that you delve through?
Yeah, I've got a decent number of books that some of them are more the kind of uniformology sort of, this is what people wore these times things. But a lot of it is more of the kind of orders of battle and campaign things. And I think it's the forgetting, or what it's called, the Dunning-Kruger effect, where it's like you don't realize how little you know about something until you learn something, and then your confidence goes and so on. And the more you kind of research these things, the more you realize how much we're kind of just propping things up where we want to believe the way something was. And especially with uniforms and things like this, where we all have this kind of idealized vision of what an army should look like. And I think it's kind of gaining confidence through that, of making a conscious choice that I know this isn't completely realistic, accurate, however you want to term it.
Yeah.
But there is an aesthetic of wargaming itself and how we want armies to look. And building towards that rather than, well, their trousers would be muddy and their jackets would all be different and the dyes would have faded and so on. So yeah, I think it's almost gone. At the start I thought, I'll do research and then I'll be better at doing the hobby, but now it's like you realize they're not actually that connected after a certain point.
You do have to make that decision, don't you? I'm going to go with this. I don't care. I know that probably it wasn't quite like this, but I'm going with this because I can read 5 books and they'll have 6 different opinions on what they look like. So I'm going to go with this. Simple as that. It's no other way.
One of the people who wrote a lot of these books on the campaigns, George Nafziger, he is a wargamer as well, and kind of although they're in more of a historical kind of way they're written, he was kind of approaching them slightly from the perspective of what would a wargamer want to know about these campaigns. So if people are kind of interested in looking more into certain campaigns, they're good books to kind of start with and explore a bit more. There's also a lot of more kind of primary source stuff that I'm interested in now. So there's a few podcasts that look at just kind of Napoleonic history, not from the kind of wargaming angle, but just generally. There's a guy called Alex Mikabritze who started translating all of these, like the accounts of Russian artillerymen in different conflicts. So he's done one from the Russian campaign and one from the Wars of Liberation and so on. But I think that's an interesting angle that most of us don't look at. We look at it from this kind of Whiggish grand narrative of history and then these people did these conflicts. And reading an account of a soldier and what they experience is a very different perspective, which I find really interesting. But
yeah, I guess it's something we talk about a lot, don't we, Martin, around the whole kind of how do you balance that sort of aesthetic, playability, and realism into what you do. It's a pretty tough balance, I think. Yeah,
it's a good test of a rule set as well, I think.
Sorry, say again.
It's a good test of a rule set is where believability fits into it, because there are some rule sets that really pitch themselves as this is a make-believe thing and you need to accept that.
Yeah.
Whereas when they dress themselves up as a simulation, and then I can't do that for rules reasons, and that's when you get kind of taken out of it, and it feels very destabilizing, I guess, in a game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's true. And I think but then, again, it's that sort of, what are you getting? What are you in the hobby for? Are you in there for completely accurate, or a fairly accurate rendition of what the reality would have been, which was pretty damn grim in most cases? Or do you look at it from a point of view, it's going to be a fun game, moving some toy soldiers around? And I know they're extremes, and you can get somewhere in between each of those, but it's. And then you could go really weird shit and do what Steve does all the time and stick mud and turnips all over it.
No problem with that. No one's going to tell me I've got my law or uniform from there.
There will be someone, I'm sure.
There probably will be someone.
Well, that's the thing I find extraordinary, is the fact that even in that kind of world, everything sort of heads off into the sort of, oh, you got that wrong. And it's like, well, how can you? It's all made up.
Yeah, I mean, I think with a lot. I think that's very prevalent in 40k lore. People live for that lore. Absolutely, channels about it. And he was anything wrong. Yeah, they jump all over you. Yeah, but I think I think you're safe with turnip. I think that the turnip aesthetic is just do what the hell you want, and who cares.
Yeah, Red Steph says, same with ancients, little evidence of the Galatasaray, but who doesn't want a load of hairy-arsed nudists charging down the table? It's true. I mean, what can you say? Whatever, you don't use the wrong tufts.
Oh, God, no.
No, God, no. God, no. That could be really dangerous. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think again, I banging on about it, but the weekend, talking to people who haven't played that much, it was refreshing to hear them sort of, they were just in for the game and having a laugh. And a lot of them had done actually quite a lot of research into their particular army. And that was great. Really, really good to see. And but again, I think most of them coming from outside of the historical side of the hobby into it, it was interesting to see their approaches to it. So there was definitely an element of, I saw one army that was, I thought, oh my goodness, I've never even thought of doing that. They did sort of maximize the size of a unit and put a special general with it to make it super powerful. And I thought, I've never even thought about doing that. There's a sort of that crossover of a little bit of gaminess. I mean, it didn't matter because it balanced out because of other things that were going on around the table, but it was interesting to see it nonetheless. So
this is one of those kind of almost unspeakable things in historicals. It's like, at what point do you say, no, I'm going to follow the general's actions, but only that far? And why, if we're pretending to be the general, would we not say, well, I want to put these together into a bigger brigade? Like, why is that not a choice they could make historically? And why does the all that be the kind of the ceiling of where?
Yeah,
of course there are real limits on things and logistics, like they physically didn't have enough horses is a fairly good reason, but you would think at some point that would be a more acceptable thing for people to experiment with.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they detached grenadier companies from different regiments to combine them into single big regiments, so they could actually use the biggest blokes with the most experience to go and take the key defensive positions or whatever or hold whatever they needed to hold. So it was a similar kind of thing, wasn't it? So yeah, I agree. It's interesting, but again, it's that sort of crossover between the purists and the people who are just in it for a bit of a laugh or haven't done that level of research, or just can't be bothered. We just want to have fun, which I think is difficult.
You said it was point based. What was people's kind of take on that? Do you think was that there as like a scaffolding to help people? Or
yeah,
there's a reason for keeping that.
I think it was just guidance, so the system was set up so that you could choose an army from any of the supplements, and then it gave it a framework, so it wasn't that you just turn up with an entire table of old guard or something and expect to have an even game. And so I think it was sort of, but if you wanted to build a bit of something a little bit different, if you could justify it, then it was fine, because it wasn't about winning. At the end of the day, there was no prize for winning anything. It was the prizes were sportsmanship, best army. I can't remember what the other one was now. And then there was very spot prizes through the day for things that happened, like stealing people's flags and blunders. I got a blunder one. I got 4 blunders in one game. I've never had that many. 4. That was extraordinary. I knew I was in trouble that day. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. But I think it's that balancing out. You wanted to make sure that people could take what they wanted to take within reason, but and made it a gameable game for everybody else. So it would have been nothing worse if somebody had turned up with a super-powered army and somebody else had got just a normal one and they hadn't played before and they got tabled within 10 minutes. They're not going to want to come back again, are they? So that was kind of interesting. And also you got the whole thing about kind of the command structures. So even I say there were lots of Austrian armies, and that mainly seemed to be because everybody could have big battalions of Austrian infantry. But the reality is because they can't move as a mass, they actually struggled because they couldn't get up the table. So you could pick them off one by one. So when you got close to them, they blew the bejesus out of you. But they were quite an interesting army to face. So yeah, I don't know.
If the table size is a factor there.
Yeah, it was 6x4s, so it was very tight. Yeah. Yeah.
What did they do for distances? Did they half them or anything? Or?
A third off. So
yeah,
the standard move was 8 inches. Muskets were 12 inches. So which made it sensible. And also Tim had a couple of local rules which I think worked pretty well. Most of them worked really well. So you couldn't charge unless you could see them at the beginning of the charge. So none of that sort of going over the hill or running around the flank of somebody and smashing into them. You couldn't do that. If you interpenetrated, you disordered both yourself and the unit you went through, and you couldn't voluntarily interpenetrate either. So that became a real challenge, and especially for the bigger armies and big units to try and move through each other because they just couldn't without disordering each other. The various other little bits and bobs he had, which I think made a big difference. But I think fundamentally fighting on a 6x4 table with 600 points is quite a lot of figures. It did fill the tables quite a bit. So, but I'd say it wasn't a competition. So, you could just do what you like really. And I think most people entered into it into the spirit of things, which was good. But no, carry on.
I was going to say, there was a Warhammer Ancients Napoleonic rules.
Yes, there was.
Around the 6x4 thing. I had to look one day for kind of what the size of the armies was for them. And he's tiny.
Yeah.
The amount it kind of recommends on there for enough maneuverability. It is like a brigade.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're shocking rules from what I remember. But how big can you remember, Martin, how big the armies were that Warwick was using for soldiers
of Napoleon?
Because that was 6x4, wasn't it?
No, they're about the size. Well, you got to remember on the Black Powder games that I play are 6x4.
True.
On the channel, so
Yeah,
they're
true.
all 3-4 brigades. Just don't necessarily bring them all on at the same time. No, it's about the same size. So he was playing with about as many models as Haley and I were playing with. So maybe 12, 13 battalions, something like that, maybe. Which is what I had in the biggest game I played on a 6x4. We had 13 battalions aside, then cannons on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's doable. I mean, I think I had 4 brigades, I think, this weekend. Most people had 4, maybe 5 brigades. But I think the not being able to interpenetrate anything made it very challenging for that number. Because if you can move round and through things, then you could sort of do waves, but you couldn't really do waves.
That means you got to stick your cavalry at the front.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was a problem for people who took like 2 brigades of cavalry because there was no room for it anywhere. So, you ended up with leaving them off the table and then not actually using them, which was a bit of disappointment. So I think that was the only challenge. But yeah, it was good. It definitely 6x4 is a good way to. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to play 6x4 Napoleonic Black Powder. Absolutely no reason at all. So,
did many of the people there talk about Epic?
Say again, sorry.
Did many of the people there talk about Epic as the kind of another way of doing it? Because you said a lot of them were kind of people new to historicals.
No, they all seem to have gone straight in at the big stuff, which was interesting because, as you say, that's sort of what Epic is supposed to be for, to encourage people fresh to the hobby. But I know one of the options Tim was talking about was running in a similar event for Epic, which would be interesting. But no, most people didn't really talk about it. To be honest, we didn't really talk much about Epic. We just talked about, our toys and what we're going to do to each other. But no, I think nobody really talked about it. And it was interesting. You would have thought with all these new players, they would have gone straight in at something like that because it's more manageable as a scale.
But you said they were coming from fantasy and 40k,
true.
where that's going to be painting a Napoleonic miniature at 28mm is going to be more familiar than painting a strip of 10 Napoleonic miniatures at 13.5. Because they've again, if you're doing something like Old World, you still got the ranks that you got to do. If you're doing 40k, people spend ages painting a single miniature, so it's a familiar scale.
There's also a degree of self-selecting. They were all there to play 28mm, so they were all 28mm players. So it was kind of inevitable, really. Actually, James says Tim's channel is mostly 28mm, so it's probably why. Yeah, true. So and Robin says the same thing as you. They come from GW, so 28mm makes sense. So yeah, probably that's what it is. It would be interesting to see whether the similar people came along if he did an Epic version, or whether it be a whole different group of players, or whether you get as many new players to it. I don't know.
I would imagine personally that you get new ones because they've already done it at 28. So I don't know. Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe that's just me.
I don't know. I mean, you can still buy 2 of those armies for what you spend on the GW army, can't you? So probably 3 or 4 armies for it. Shall we do a little bit of news?
By we, you mean you.
Nobody bought Spanish. No, there was no Spanish there. Sorry. There was English, a couple of English armies. There was the one French. A couple of guys played Italian. Lots of Austrians. Quite a few Russians. One Prussian. I'll let you guess who that was. And Alex, who was on the chat earlier, did a combined Austrian-Russian army, which was quite effective as well. And then one nutter using the wrong flags with the Swedes. I think, from what I remember. Yeah, it was good. Let's do a bit of news then, and then we can crack on with where we go. Here we go. Just going to hit the button. So you got nothing? You're telling me?
No, I genuinely have nothing. I looked as well. I did go to a few places, but no, there was nothing that I thought was worthwhile.
Gee whiz, slacker.
Sorry.
Well, I saw this one, which immediately made me think of somebody, and I want to see whether it made you think of the same person. Does that remind you of Ken at his stag weekend?
Yes, unfortunately. Getting flashbacks.
So that's one of the new Reconquer miniatures for July, I think this is. I mean, it just made me chuckle when I saw that. I thought, that is so Ken.
This is all part of that set, isn't it?
It is. It's all part of that set that we talked about last time. It's really, really good. But I saw these, and I have no idea anything. Anyone heard of Shield Wolf?
Oh, yes.
These
they're
are...
from North Star.
Yeah, that's why they were showing them off. What game are they for? Anybody know?
Anything. It's anything
at all.
Anything,
So it's not a particular thing. Okay. I mean, they're quite nice models, I guess, if you're into the weird shit. Have they got? Oh, they got face masks on. That's what they've got. I wondered, or what do they call it? It's not face masks. That was before they were called something else. Before they were called face. I forget. So that was good. They look interesting. Also, Warlords have continued to churn out new stuff. There are some new British late war weapons teams.
They're not. I've got those snipers.
I've got those snipers as well.
Well, they're up as new.
Is it that you can buy them?
They're in resin. That's probably why they're in resin. So it's not new. Okay, yeah. I just thought the Wombles looked brilliant. I like them. They're really cool. All right, so they're not new. That makes sense because I thought I'd seen the guys wearing the outfits. I thought they were new. They were old ones.
I think they were released around about the time they brought up the Sea Lion book. Round about them. I've got them. They took me about 15 minutes to paint.
Sculpted the flamethrower. Okay, they are very old then. Very old. Okay, well these are definitely new. So I know Warlords have also launched some epic pike and shot mortar. So you can buy them as individual figures, or you can buy them as a battery like that, which comes with a free commander, which is kind of fun. I might be tempted by that because I've got that Star Fort, and it would be useful to have them to.
They are. If I ever hit with the bloody thing, I imagine that they would be good because it's just 2 dice, any range, always hits on the 6. That's the rule. That's it.
You did, I did watch that video, and that was very funny. You missed every single shot.
I rolled 18 times and didn't roll a 6. Yeah.
Also, they've got some epic Dragoon horse holders, cool. Which I think look good, but $14.50 for that? Is that me? Yeah, appears to be. Yeah, I'm not sure about the price, but nice to have some horse holders. I think I bought mine from. Can't remember where I bought them from, but they're metal ones, and they were definitely not that price. But it's good to see they're continuing to invest in it. It was interesting also talking to Colin at the weekend about the epic, or actually about Warlord resin, and how they've continued to refine it. He said every time, pretty much, it's a slightly different recipe, and getting better and better and better. So. And definitely they're much happier with where it is at the moment. So there'll be more and more of that resin stuff coming through, which I don't dislike. I think it's actually quite nice. Glenn, our mate at Wall Bases, or Black Sheep, has just announced he's bringing out, I think, 6 new gangs of his metal figures. So these are the Pinkertons.
Oh, nice.
Which look really good indeed. I like them a lot. I don't need any more, but they look really nice. I know. Don't scoff. And also, he's got the Lawman.
They're nice. Right. I like those. I like it.
Yeah, I think they're really good. He's obviously working really hard on these, which is brilliant. And also, here we go. Can I show what Ken sent? So, our erstwhile colleague Ken got very excited about a 3D printer. So here it is.
Oh, I didn't actually read the.
So it's the Mars 5 series, which he said. Did he say it was a self-leveling?
It's self-leveling, and then I stopped reading.
Yeah, that was, and he said something about, and it's a good price. I don't know. So
is it printing color or something? Is that?
Oh god!
He said this is the future. I saw that.
Yeah,
I think it was the self-leveling bit that he was excited about.
Leveling it takes like 5 seconds. It's it's not hard.
If only there was a channel who talked about 3D printing for wargaming. If only there was one of those.
If only there was one that hadn't made 2 videos and then stopped.
Yeah, stopped.
That's only because he couldn't remember what his channel was called when he logged in.
And then, moisture alert. The Perrys are at it again. So Alan posted some of his work.
Yeah.
I mean,
that is ace. That is awesome. I want that.
Yeah. How are you going to use that then? Well, you're just going to find a reason. You'll find a reason.
I'll find a way. I don't need a read. I'll find a way to include it.
That is awesome. And then there's also Lusons, French Hussar officers fighting a duel in sleeveless waistcoats. I like it. Very, very specific. So yeah.
Cat on a barrel gets my
cat on a barrel. Yes, that's great, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, they're just crying out to be turned into some sort of diorama, aren't they? Really, those figures. They're just awesome. They effectively are a diorama already by the look of it. So that is fantastic. I'm not sure I'm going to use them, but it could do. I wonder if you can buy them individually or whether you have to buy them as a set. That'd be interesting. Because some of those individually put in a unit could be quite fun.
There'll be a set. There'll be a set.
Yeah,
but it won't be a lot. It'll only be like £8.
No, true.
Like so it'll be like £8 for all of that, or you can buy your £16 horse holders.
I know where I'm going. Yeah, Ozzy is getting very excited, and calm down, James. It's a hot night. Well, yeah. So yeah, that's what I saw. Quite a bit actually. All of a sudden came up. So which is odd at this time of year. So apologies about 3D printing. If we had an expert, we'd talk about that, but we don't. So we don't know what to talk about there. So any of that catch your attention, Kit? I mean, those duelists you'd be good for if you're looking to do some diorama type things. That would be perfect, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I expect there'll be quite a few of those in paint competitions next year as people's diorama entries. It's all kind of finding those opportunities to use vignettes and things and just putting them on the table. They're going to be good. Yeah.
You are definitely in that painter modeler side of the equation. I can feel it. Definitely can. Definitely can. Awesome. What about you, Steve? You wouldn't turnip any of those, would you?
They've got some of them have got they could be turnip into like proper toffs or toady models for turnip. Yeah, no, I would. I think they, as I've demonstrated, the Perry range is probably the most versatile range out there for cutting them up and sticking mud and tufts and all kinds of crap to them. So yeah, I would.
You would.
I would.
Don't know. Yeah, that's what worries me. So one of the comments we had earlier, Big Small Worlds, that's a great name for a channel. I like that. I've been running a WFRP campaign for my youngest 13 and his 3 friends. They're very keen. One of the parents told me they can't believe their boy is willing to leave his PC game for hours. I love that. I think that's great. I wish we could get more into them. What age do you teach, Kit?
Secondary, so from about 12 up till 18.
Proper grunty. Yeah. So they're probably not going to get them away from anything at that age, are you? Really? Not really. You've got to get them earlier. Right. What about you, Martin? Are any of you girls showing any interest in wargaming?
Tessa likes the Lord of the Rings miniatures, and Robin likes all the spiders that I painted for Rangers of Shadow Deep and now plays with them. So Tessa would, because she loves board games and she likes kicking my ass at stuff. So I think Tessa potentially would. She'd play some fantasy stuff. If I put it out, I have played the Lord of the Rings game with her. I have played that, and I also played, because I bought a couple of issues of when the last Age of Sigmar, because I know it's just getting re-released into its 4th edition. When the 3rd edition came out, they did a few magazines, and you get a few miniatures free, and and we played that little version of it, and she enjoyed that. She painted up the wraiths into like all these rainbow colors, all these ghosts in these bright colors. So pretty much. I think they potentially Tessa, Robin will just smash them to pieces. And then watch me cry, and she'll consider that a victory. So
got to get your wins any way you can. I love it.
Exactly. But hopefully they will. I think they might be more into the like TTRPGs than wargaming. So I think I'll just direct them away from like D&D and straight towards things like Call of Cthulhu and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I mentioned it I think before now, but I tried to get the girls vaguely interested in wargaming back in the day, but they weren't having any of it until a couple of mates who used to come around every Thursday night to game came with crisps and chocolate biscuits, and suddenly they were quite happy to come and stand around the table and roll a few dice until said booty was run out, and then they went back inside and did something more useful. But I did have a mate at the time who we game with all the time. I haven't seen him for a few years now, but he had this unerring ability to be playing against some kids at some tournament, a show or something like that, and get his a bit like you, get his ass royally kicked by them. You know, any time a kid came up, it's like he'd roll 1-1, and the kid would roll 6 every single time. It was so funny just to get him so angry. So
I did think about getting one of the girls to roll the dice the other day when I did that combat example when I did the handball bit, but then I realised that if they rolled really well, I'd get really annoyed. So I figured I'd just leave them out of it, and in the end, I just got angry with myself. So it's fine. Someone pointed out that it was like the most average set of rolls they'd ever seen. It was like every roll was like 10 dice, all 5 hits. And then I got and then all 4 hits, 2 saves.
On average rolls for you as a result, isn't it? Jeez.
Yeah, I haven't. I was just trying to think. I think I got beaten in. I don't think I've won a game on the channel now for. Hang on a minute. Don't count. Ben beat me. Robin beat me in the Last Crusade one. Haley beat me in the Gallic Wars. Miller beat me in the English Civil War, but I went down in style on a Call of Duty board on that one, so I'm not going to give him that one. I don't think I've won a game, possibly this year on the channel. I've won a game. I'm going to have to look into that.
That is awesome. Joseph says, I get my granddaughter to play Blood Red Skies. She likes the planes. Yeah, funny enough, it was Wings of War. What is it? That First World War card thing that the girls used to like. That was kind of one of the things. What about scales, Kit? Do you is it only 28 mil for you, or do you peruse into 15 mils or smaller?
It is only 28 at the moment. I've been looking at going up to kind of the odd bust and 72 things for painting, because I've never really dabbled in those, and they feel like something that would kind of stretch and get to do new techniques with, but haven't quite bit the bullet. Yeah, there'll be a show where there'll be something, and that will be the. Because you were doing something with bust, weren't you? For each painting.
Well, these two were. Yeah,
I never did mine.
Yeah, Sean.
I never did mine.
No. I did mine. Like I said, I mentioned it last week. I hurt my hand. It was really heavy.
Yeah, it's here somewhere to paint.
I was shocked at just how you could do some serious damage with hoiking it somewhere. It's a massive, great big lump of metal.
I moved house. That was the problem, and it went missing. I know where. Well, I say missing. I know where it is. It's in this box up here of just random metal stuff. I just double checked. I've won 1 game on the channel.
Wow,
that was Acton Panzer, where I annihilated Robin. But in 6 months on the channel, in about 10 battle reports, I've done. Yeah, all right. We'll go on your channel and we'll do one, and we'll see how. Get my revenge.
Yeah, I mean, going larger than 28 mil for me is just not going to happen. I'm just not dedicated enough painter, and I can't be asked to really do it properly and do layering and all that kind of thing, which I think every mistake is amplified on a larger scale figure, isn't it? You know, absolutely.
You did an amazing job on that badger. Sorry.
Yeah.
The bear. No, the bear. It was a bear.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
cool.
no, thank you. I did. Yeah, I enjoyed. That's very true. I did enjoy that, but it was kind of all textured in a nice way, so it was kind of relatively easy to do. Yeah, maybe I should have a go then.
There's different ways of painting though at that scale, and I think one of the things that it's largely from the kind of Games Workshop house style of painting is people have all gone down this hyper realist. Everything must be really smooth now. Where there's this professional figure painter called Alfonso Giraldez who does this F smoothness thing, where you paint in a more painterly style and use it, as a medium, and you see the contrast because that's a painting technique.
Yeah.
Which takes bravery to do and skill that I don't have, but it's something to kind of. It doesn't have to be a completely flawless way of painting, I think. Maybe we should have a go at it. Maybe we should do it again. Maybe that could be our Christmas challenge again this year.
See, Dom, I still remember that game one? Was it 148 Tactic?
Mm-hmm.
That I liked that. I mean, it was years ago when that came out. I had no idea what it is, but I liked the idea of gaming with 148 scale figures.
Yeah.
Like I said, just remember that time at Crackcom we were talking about war gaming with action men?
No. No.
I think a few beers had been drunk.
We had a few beers, and we said, "Well, imagine playing like a skirmish game with action men in your back garden and see how long it would be before your neighbours call the police."
Yeah.
I
just there were people at Salute playing Adeptus Titanicus at 28mm scale.
Yes, they were. They were moving around on the floor.
Yeah.
Flying with Ken. Oh, that was the big robot-y things, was it?
The big robot-y thing.
Yes.
Windy boat game, big robot-y thing.
I'm a simple chap. I don't understand these things. Yeah, I don't know. Paul says, I like the idea of 40mm AWI skirmishing, but having to collect. See, that's what put me off about the whole kind of 148 thing, was that you've got to get a whole load more terrain. I've got 15mm terrain, I've got 28mm terrain, and I've got a little bit of 20mm terrain, and then I have to get a whole load more on top. Oh, no. No. That's what puts me off. So I think, if I felt more confident with painting than doing a larger figure just as a sort of display kind of thing, I could handle. But I just don't.
So, Kit, is there anything that you could step outside of your comfort zone and do? Like, is there anything that you maybe want to do but haven't that you'd consider?
I think heraldry is something that's always been a bit daunting. Stripes is about as far as my freehanding has gone. And so probably something that involves that would one day be the next. Probably Wars of Roses, sort of.
Good choice. It's a good choice. Good choice. I know some miniatures that but they're not in stock at the minute. So I mean, it's got. We often sort of talk about it. Again, I've been looking at some of the 40k stuff I've got, and I've got this massive box of 38mm. Whatever the hell they are, I forgot, conquest miniatures to paint, and oh shit! There goes a shield.
Man down.
Oh god! No, they're cavalry. Oh god! There we go. Oh, they're fine. I hate these cavalry. I just want that known. No, I think it's going to be interesting going up to sort of these 38mm miniatures. I mean, they're incredibly textured, but I'm sitting there just trying to figure out how to go about painting, because I figure I can't. I don't think the way I normally do things is going to work. And at that size, because that Bushido miniature, the Bushido miniatures are 32mm. I spend an awful long. Well, I didn't spend a long time. I spent probably 5 hours on that Bushido model. But I can't do that for every single one. So I'm going to have to amend it. And is just painting. Batch painting on a 38mm, is it just going to come out looking gash at the end of it? So that's sort of my consideration. What about you, Steve? You got anything like you want to step out your comfort zone for?
Just going back to bigger scales, I remember when I first picked up my first Wild West Exodus figures.
Yeah. Oh god, I forgot about that game. Yeah.
They because they are big compared to what are they 32, 35, something.
They're 32, I think. I think they are anyway. I've got some, but they've got some massive miniatures in there. So
I enjoy. I mean, again, they were lovely figures to paint. Some of the plastic ones were a bit of a pain in the arse to put together, but for the most part, they were really enjoyable to paint. I think I mentioned the other week, I'd love to dabble in 1/35th scale modelling.
Oh, yes, you did say.
But then I look at people on YouTube and just think, that's a rabbit hole I don't want to I don't even want to go down. Because, I mean, I think it's been a while since I did any military sort of history painting at that scale. I think the last time I tried that, it would have been 2008, and I just moved to Frodsham, and I went to Model Zone in Chester, and I bought this early war German mortar team, And I started working on it, and I don't know. I just lost interest in it. I don't know whether it was just a thing that I wanted to try out, but no, I'd love to try that. I've got a Panther tank.
Wargame History says he painted a 135th World War II army for a chap, including terrain.
God.
Whoa!
See, that's what I mean. Rabbit hole right there. You know, you buy a kit of 4, the next thing you know, you've painted an entire army of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one day I'll get around to doing something again, just as a test.
Yeah, scale 75. They do some. Yeah, they do, don't they? Yeah, I mean, they look nice. I mean, I know Mad Sean is going around doing the whole sort of. He's 40 mil. He's doing, isn't he? He's doing sharp practice in 40 mil, and it looks good. It looks really good. But as I say, just that thought of building a whole new. And also, how about table scale would you use for that? You couldn't really do a 6x4, could you, really? Or you'd have to scale it all down, and then what's the point? You might as well use 28 mil. I don't know.
That's good.
I like the way you just, in one conversation, just went from, it might be interesting to, I'm not doing that.
No, I could see myself, if I found the right model, because as you say, I'd forgotten about the Badger Bear thing, and I actually really enjoyed doing that. I was quite intimidated by it, but I think if I found the right model like that, I would quite enjoy doing it, but it would have to be the right one, and I have no idea what that would be.
Maybe that's your way of doing fantasy, because those the smaller ones terrify you. So, like, you know, because you've got to go for the beasties, go for the tree folk and all that kind of stuff, because it's a tree. You know, you don't have a uniform or anything.
That has crossed my mind, because in that set of woodland elves that Graham loves to remind everybody that I still haven't done, because I haven't done after about 4 years, no more than that, 5 years. There are lots of beasties in there with riders on them, and I think if I'm going to do them, that's probably the way I'm going to launch into them. I don't know.
Just say that Steve's got a point here. Yeah, losing interest in life happens when you move to Frodsham. I lived there for 3.5 years.
Oh, jeez.
Lovely little place. I'd heartily recommend visiting it.
Paul says he played 135th scale game of Bunker Hill at Partisan a few years ago. It looked great. Yeah. I think it visually looks amazing. I'm sure. I don't know. Talk about what people are up to. Shall we have a look at a few pictures from some of our viewers? So reminder, I haven't done it for a while, have I? So reminder, we bought via our friends at Boards and Swords. So thank you to them as ever for sponsoring. And remember, use the PCP5 code if you want to get an extra 5% off the prices that they already have, which are very, very reduced already. And make sure you said that you came via us. Well, you'll know because you got PCP5.
Because you'll be using the code,
yeah. But anyway, say hello to Ian because he's a good chap. So reminder, trying to show some of the pictures on the Facebook page. If you're not a member, why not? Just click on the link down below if you want to show the work in progress and all that kind of stuff. We're really keen to see what people are up to. And I've just remembered someone sent me an email with a couple of nice pictures which I meant to pick up, so I'll go and get them in a minute when we're doing it. So first up, we're talking about Wars of the Roses. I mean,
yes, he's into Burgundian. Well, he's in the Burgundian Wars, isn't he?
Yeah. This is Sire, I think his name was.
Yeah, they are. They're really lovely.
They pop so much, it's unbelievable. I don't know what technique he's used there, but they are so crisp.
Yeah, amazing. So what else we got? This because we like to not only just see the figures, but we also like to see the games. So this was David's game of Dak Attack, which I think, look at that. I love that. It's a raid on an airfield. Absolutely brilliant. Love that. He had a whole series of pictures of the game, which was lovely to see.
There's traitors and stuff in the background as well.
Yeah.
Really good table.
Yeah. It's the visual effect of that sort of thing is just brilliant, isn't it? Love it. Cool. I don't know how I'd use them, but I still fancy doing Long range desert group for some reason, but I don't know what I'd play with them. These were from Craig. Now this is just lovely as a base. Look at that command base.
Oh, that is fantastic.
So you got the evil Corsican there, but he's done the flag and everything. He's done the map on a table behind and drawn it himself. Just brilliant. I just love that. Wonderful. Something for the 95th to shoot at as well. And talking about dioramas, we were talking about earlier on and doing this sort of thing. So Stephen said he was saying, have you ever had some figures that you really want to paint, but you don't really need for an army? So you just build them into diorama.
So yeah.
That's
awesome. That's all kinds of awesome.
That's just absolutely spectacular, isn't it? I love that lots. And I love the crushed Romans as well. That's really good too. I love it. So really impressed with that. Another really nice looking game from Kevin. This was a GDA 2 Battle of Waterloo refight.
Oh, nice.
And there's a whole series of pictures up there. Absolutely beautiful looking things. Love a good game. Even after a weekend of Napoleonic, I still love the look of a Napoleonic game. We have also got this is DJ's painting of the 70th Line Regiment.
Oh, nice.
Are they front ranks?
Oh, I like that. They look like it.
Yeah, I think they probably are. Very nice indeed. Yeah, I like them. Oops, sorry. Just lost my place. There we go. Where are we? So this, I like this as well. So Joseph showed off some of his aircraft that he's been working on. So in amongst all the Corsairs and everything else was this, I think it's a B-29 Super Fortress. Just love it. It's lovely, isn't it? Really, really clean and neat. I forget what scale it was, but that's beautiful. Really like that a lot. Like that. I still can't get that excited about Air War, though. It just doesn't really do it for me, but I love the models. So I don't know what that says about me. Dan, look at those.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
So this was from his first game of War of the Roses, he said.
Yeah, and they look awesome. They're really nice. And the whole game looked cool.
It did. Absolutely amazing. Beautiful job on those. And I love the army. He looks like he's done your school of black armor and what have you as well, Martin, by the look of it.
Cool.
Now, I have no idea what these are, but they're from Lewis.
Oh, they're custodians.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like them.
Oh, nice.
I like the white armor. Normally they're just all gold.
Yeah, I think he said that the fluff behind them is that they're the gold piles are set in the Himalayas.
Yeah.
That's why they've got the white armor and the.
Dom, you just said yes. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, I knew that. Yeah. I have no freaking idea. No freaking idea. I was trying to find, that sort of thing that kids do when they're sort of trying to sound like they know what they're talking about. Oh yeah. No.
That's how I guess. That's why I do in my job.
That's what I do in my job.
That's what I do. No, they're really nice. I like it that he's mixed up the scheme a bit. I like that.
Are they allowed to do? Are you allowed to do that? We're talking about breaking rules. Are you allowed to do different colours? I mean, I don't know. I thought the law is strong, isn't it? Tony was showing. Oh, this was there were some amazing pictures of this. This was Tony's event at. It was an Australian tank museum, I believe. And it was a big, epic Napoleonic battle that they fought in amongst all the tanks and vehicles, which just looked amazing. You just think it's one of those venues you just think, wow. So, yeah, amazing. Look at this battery down here. Jeez, you wouldn't want to go up against that. Wow.
But that's a battery the size a battery should be.
That's a proper.
That's a battery.
If you had a light cavalry regiment or two, you'd charge at it, wouldn't you? That's just perfect. Love it. Nathan has been working on his. I think he's doing these for Never Mind the Billhooks, isn't he?
He's doing them for the 100 Years' War because that's the Earl of Arundel's coat of arms. I know because I've just painted it on Arundel. So yes, obviously in that period, you haven't got the same. Yeah, you've got kind of like. I think that's meant to be like his personal guard or something.
Right.
It's really nice. I really like it.
Very good indeed. We've got some Dark Elves from Matthew.
Ooh,
that's quite a few Dark Elves there, isn't it? Look at that.
Holy moly.
Yeah, that's cool.
What is this thing on the left-hand side behind the weird-looking lady with the basket? Is that a rocket, a cannon or something?
That's one of the new. They redid Cities of Sigmar, didn't they?
Yeah. So there's some Dark Elves in there, and the rest of the Cities of Sigmar.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very cool.
They look amazing painting, really, really nice looking, but I've no idea what they are. Roy was showing his Silver Bayonets game called I think this one was the Infected Trees.
No, it's Rangers of Shadow Deep.
Oh, sorry, Rangers. Sorry, it wasn't. Yes, it was Rangers. You're right.
Yeah, that's the one that where I didn't get to play because my guy was already dead. But he looks way more accomplished than we do.
What, he's still alive? But it looks
basically.
like that's the beginning of the game, so there's still time. Are you playing any more of that, Martin, or are you giving up on that?
Yeah, no, we're playing it. It's just so the last video we filmed, and then I was editing it, and then I realised there was no way I could actually put it out. Not because of the language or the fact that like Miller was like throwing all his toys out the pram, but it just didn't film very well. I don't think it and we've talked about it before. And you're making a video, sometimes you just know there's no point.
Yeah.
In doing it, so we have done it. We are going to play the next one, and I don't know whether I'll film them or not. We still very much want to play them. It's just a lot of. It's not like filming a normal battle report. It's a longer session. It's more like an RPG than it is a war game. It's quite involved, and then you kind of have to stop it. So we'll see. I've had some fun with it. We are going to carry on playing though. Or I intend to. Whether or not they come round and play is something else.
I love it. I just love watching it. It was one of the the funniest videos I think I've watched in a while. Watching you lot play that game, that was hilarious.
It's just because we're so shit at it. That's the thing, yeah.
Oh, jeez. What have we got here? These were great as well. This is another battle. I don't know. I picked up loads of battles. Must have had it on the brain. So this is Steve playing his Sharp Practice AWI at the weekend. It looks like those Brits have taken quite a pounding from the Colonials there, by the look of it. That's not going so well for them. But nice. I want to do some more Sharp Practice, actually. That's one I should have a game of this week. Yes. And then Barry sent over some of his what he's working on in terms of Epic. So Epic Napoleonics in this case. So let me find the picture. So this is his La Haissant.
Oh, nice.
And look at the command stand in front of it.
Oh, wow.
That is, now what did he say this was? This is remodeled Epic Napoleon on foot, apparently. I mean, you won't be able to tell, but look at that. Let me show the close-up of that, because that is just amazing. Look at that.
That's very cool.
That is very cool.
That's a proper command base, isn't it? I love it. Yeah, so good job, Barry. Thank you for that. He emailed them in. So if you're not on Facebook and you want to send some pictures in, then please send them via the email address that's down below. So that's that for now. That's some lovely work there, as usual. Thank you for everybody who puts them up on the... I always look at them and go, well, apart from the ones I have no idea what they're about, I just get inspired by so many of them. It's like, wow. And sick by the standard of the painting, because I just think they're so amazing. Some of that work is extraordinary. So another week's almost over. What are we up to this week then? What do you got planned, Kit, in terms of gaming and toys?
I have another Blood Bowl game lined up soon. more halfling action.
Going to be throwing halflings at people.
Yeah, and want to start doing command base is for my Prussians. So I've got most of the figures for first kind of like proper brigade rather than Prussian brigade, but no officer yet. Which is something that if any figure manufacturers want to do more Prussian commanders, because that's something there aren't many of out there.
Okay.
Yeah, Prussian's one of those weird ones where you have to kind of go in different manufacturers to get all of the different bits in there.
Are you one of these purists that won't mix as well?
No, I'm quite happy mixing even within kind of one unit. If it comes to it, like the Warlord Landwehr with some of the Perry metal ones, just kind of, and the same with the War Games Atlantics did a plastic reservists box.
Okay, Calipe.
Yeah.
So I very nearly spent a stupid amount of money after I drank a few beers on a Saxon army based around their figures. So I thought, no, I don't need them. Put it away. Plus, I realised they were white, so it's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Excellent. No, that's good. It's interesting, isn't it? I'm always fascinated by people who get really funny about not mixing manufacturers, and then other people don't give a damn. I'll mix anything. Different scales and all go together.
Yeah. That's the thing. People with different heights. Like, not everyone is the same.
That's what I reckon. What I reckon. What about you, Martin? What more epic for you, or are you going to just carry on?
No. I've got Carthaginians and Romans both on the go at the minute because there's a battle report coming. Soon I got to edit because I did see a couple of comments about the First Crusade battle report. It's currently being edited, and it's probably, and I said before, I think that's probably the favourite, or is up there as one of the favourite tables I think Robin and I have done. I don't know if you'd agree, but I think it's just awesome. And the scenario is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's an 8-turn one as well, so it's quite a long one. So it's just taking a bit longer to edit. So I'm editing that, and now I'm back on the epic stuff as well. And I'm finishing these ghouls, this Gallic cavalry, which is I've on-off painted for weeks, and I'll have some comments on them in the video. I'm not a fan. Well, they won't be bad. I hate them. Maybe once they're finished and they're based up, I might feel better about them, but it's taken a bit of a toll getting through it. But so I've got a video coming out to get the next Gallic Wars one. There's an update on that. I've got some other stuff that's turned up that I've got to do videos on. So yeah, just a lot. Basically. But my best mate, or the chap who's my best mate, he's back from Vietnam for the weekend, and I haven't seen him in 2 years, so I'm not going to be very sober this weekend. And it's my week next week, isn't it?
It is
as well. It is. Well, but I think so. I'm going to have to pull myself together for Monday. It's going to be horrific.
Oh, jeez. What about you, Steve? What you're up to? Anything painting wise planned?
So
okay.
The rest of the Bushido starter box because I've actually finished the guy I was painting tonight. So that's 2 down, 3 to go. Finally, I've had that at War Games Atlantic BEF box for weeks now, and I've barely looked at it. I've barely looked at it. So I might build a few of those. Want to finish these rat skins. I've got some core that I'm working on. And I'm planning to make a video about my recent hobby burnout and why it was so bloody awful and how I got over it.
Yeah, good. That'll be good.
So, and what figures.
Robin says, back from Vietnam, he must have been a captive for a long time. Boom, boom. Awesome, mate. That'd be a good listen, actually. Oh, good watch. So the dancing hands will come to the fore again. Good.
Oh, yes.
Good. For me, I don't know what, I'm going to carry on with some of the epic little fellas, but I might, like you, Martin, have to delve into some of the 28mm because CrackCon's not that far away.
Yeah. I was doing that, and then this was a little bit of a palate cleanser. But what we'll do, because I've just realised I forgot to talk about CrackCon. But I'll do an update next week on it. But for those of you who are in Dom and my game, we'll be creating some groups, a group for the Gauls and a group for the Romans, so we can really start just working out what people have and how much, because Dom and I have stuff, but we need to work out what everyone else has. So watch out for those. But we'll go through CrackCon next week.
Brilliant.
Oh, we picked the dice color. We've picked the dice color.
Oh yes, we have, haven't we?
When we go, we've got the dice color.
Yeah. And remember, the t-shirts are on sale, and all the other merch. Got to work out whether we're going to do a mug this year. If anybody's fancies a mug this year, I'm not sure.
What I got when I was on the phone to Kenny, he went, "Oh, I saw the t-shirt. I might actually buy one this year." I was like, "You cheeky, you're so cheeky. It's like you won't even buy our own events."
Yeah, well, yeah.
I might actually remember to bring one this year.
That would be nice. That would be nice. You are no good for branding. You are. Awesome. Thank you very much indeed. Thanks, Kit, for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. Great to meet you over the screen at least this time. So that was nice. Anybody else who fancies coming on at some point as a community guest, just ping us an email. And then in the weeks where I think Ken might be coming back fairly soon. I really feel he might well be. So you might not have too long for that. But awesome for everyone joining in the stream. Thank you as ever for that. And also those watching on the catch up. We love you as well. Thanks for joining us on our Monday night. And we will see you next week on Martin's stream. We don't know what the subject is, but he'll probably be very hungover. Or
still pissed. It's quite likely.
Could be quite entertaining then, really.
Yeah.
Awesome. Have a good week, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.